Florida's Mexico Beach, surviving the storm, lives lost, homes destroyed, but lessons learned.
Nearly 10 months since Hurricane Michael slammed ashore as a Category 5, the Panhandle communities are still trying to recover. The size of that storm when it struck stretched hundreds of miles, covering parts of Florida and most of Alabama and Georgia. But despite the total devastation along the beach, one home withstood the 160-mile-an-hour winds. First Coast News anchor Heather Crawford and meteorologist Lauren Rautenkrantz investigate what we should all know before the next storm.
You know, this is an old Florida town, and a lot of the homes here in Mexico Beach, like the ones behind me, they just didn't stand a chance. We've seen a lot of houses wiped clear off their foundation. All that remains now is concrete slab. But the house that you're about to see, well, those homeowners, they did a lot of things right, a lot of things that we could all learn from.
Although they are also very humble because they do admit to fault in some areas of their construction, but they are engineering this home to be built better and stronger than ever.
All these townhouses here, they're all just wiped out, just gone. There were like 40 on each side. Poof, they're gone. Just that, you know, in 10 minutes. And carried away.
Russell King's beachfront vacation home is surrounded by concrete slabs where homes once stood. He and his nephew had just finished building this house 6 months before Hurricane Michael brought 160-mile-per-hour winds and a 17.5-foot storm surge to Mexico Beach.
In the beginning with the engineers, I told them I wanted a hurricane house. Not that the hurricane would take down, but would survive.
What is it about your house that made it survive?
It's 100 things. Because these windows survived, this house survived.
From hurricane windows to hurricane clips.
Everywhere two boards come together, put a clip. Everywhere.
To concrete walls, even drains in the floors.
Water came in and drained out.
This house was built above code, with every decision focused on what would give it the best chance of surviving a big storm.
I know a full hip roof works. I know that now. I was told it before, I know it now, because I've seen it proven 100 times. You only should have a hip roof.
While his home did suffer some damage, he is now working to reinforce it based on lessons he learned from Hurricane Michael.
We used to have a fan there. There will never be another fan there. We'll never have another fan in an outdoor area ever again. They're nice. The wind gets in there, it tears up the fan, it's got a hole, it pulls the ceiling down.
His advice?
And you better get a team together. An engineer, a builder, an architect, designer. You better put it together, and then you're going to have to give up some things you probably won't to increase your chances to survive.
Now, we have been asking everyone here in Mexico Beach, what lessons did you learn having survived this Category 5 storm? And the one thing that we heard over and over again is always heed those evacuation orders. When it's time to leave, you need to go. And the mayor told me, really stood out. He said, you know, the bottom line is you can't control Mother Nature. And so if you don't leave when you're told to, it may be too late to get out of harm's way.
And so we were walking around Mexico Beach and we saw a lot of these little wristbands on people's arms, and it says Mexico Beach Strong. And I mean, that just really encompasses what this community is. But we did also learn that, number one, they're not up for sale. They're kind of a memento after the fact now, because they were the token to get back into the city after Michael, if you were a resident or a volunteer. And of course, we now are also Mexico Beach Strong. We've learned a whole lot of lessons ourselves being here. For Heather Crawford, I'm meteorologist Lauren Rautenkrantz in Mexico Beach for First Coast News, on your side.